Greetings, everybody, and welcome back to Not Funny Guys Presents Red Dwarf Rewatch, our dive into the cult classic BBC 1980s and still ticking wonderful sci-fi show. I am your host, Dr. John. Welcome. We're going to dive in now. We're continuing our run through Series 2, and we are going to get into Episode 3 today. Thanks for the Memory. Directed by Ed By, as usual, and written by Rob Grant and Doug Naylor, the creators. This one was released on the 20th September, 1988. So, let us start real quickly with a summary, and then we'll jump into my notes. That was I. So, the crew wake up after celebrating the anniversary of Rimmer's death, his death day, only to find that 4 whole days have passed and that they have no memories of what's gone on, including Holly, the ship's computer. But that's not hard. I can imagine him forgetting a lot of things. Seeking answers, the group soon learned that the ship's black box was buried on a remote moon. Recovering it to access the missing CCTV footage, they slowly learn that why it was buried, and then when they find out what they did in the missing 4 days. We start out, once again, Holly giving us an amazing distress call recap. Apparently, they have supply for 30,000 years, but ran out of shaken bat. It's always something with Holly. So, apparently, they found a moon planetoid with some breathable atmosphere, and they decide to basically hold a impromptu rock concert with Rimmer in a little portable hologram cage, and they're celebrating his death day. And they've managed to find a way for holograms to get drunk. And they're generally having a good time, little party, happy death day. By the end of it, they're all drunk. And they basically take their little shuttle back to Red Dwarf singing, "Show me the way to go home," blah, blah, blah. You know, that little fun one. Then they're back on the ship. Rimmer is drunk in his bunk, and Lister is sort of still going along. The night is young for him. He's having a triple fried egg sandwich with chili sauce and chutney. I don't even want to know. I can get the fried egg thing, but chili sauce and chutney, no. And he lets Rimmer try it. Basically, Rimmer gets a version. This is Lister's favorite thing, and Rimmer tried it, and he's like, "I feel like I'm having a baby." He says it's disgusting. Lister claims he found it reading a book on biological warfare. I love that. But even though it's sort of disgusting, Rimmer still finds it intriguing, and then he decides to create a metaphor of sorts. He says about Lister, the ingredients are wrong, but somehow it's all right together. Like, nothing about you makes sense or should work, but yet together you do. And Rimmer then sort of castigates himself in this moment, basically saying he has all the right ingredients, but together it's wrong. And this chili chutney sandwich, fried egg sandwich, is kind of like all the wrong ingredients, but for some reason it's right. He's basically doing this. And so they go on to basically hash out their clashing personality differences, which we've all been party to, you know. Rimmer even admits that he basically sort of simped up to Captain Hollister and got nowhere. And then Rimmer decides to tell Lister a secret. And Lister is like, "Do not tell me this. You will wake up tomorrow and you will hate it. You will freak out." But Rimmer insists, and he basically says, "I've only had sex one time. It's Yvonne Magruder." He spent more time being sick in his life than the 12 minutes of lovemaking he had with her. That's including a pizza dinner. So we don't really know how long. I imagine it wasn't very long. Rimmer, still drunk, not yet realizing the nastiness of what he's probably done to him, goes back and crashes on his bunk, lamenting that he's dead and he won't find love. Lister is quite upset by all this, find him passed out in the morning, but something's off. Okay, Rimmer is awake. He's back to being his smug self. Plus, He's doing his little flashcard memories of last night popping up in his head, and he's getting more and more embarrassed. And then he remembers telling Lister the secret. Now, when he pulls the blanket off of Lister, Lister apparently has his foot in a cast. He hurt his foot. Things are not adding up. Now, Rimmer's remembering the embarrassment of the previous night, but something else has happened. Rimmer tries to play off his secret that he told Lister as kind of a gag or a joke. But then they quickly come to realize that they've lost time. Something has gone on. This isn't just the next morning. Some more time has passed. And of course, the cat walks in himself, and he too is in a foot cast. They wake, and apparently when they've now woken up, it's Thursday. It was supposed to be Sunday, so they were partying Saturday night. And in Lister's diary, they find 4 missing pages. And the cat then says, "Did you look behind the fridge?" about the losing of 4 days. I love that. Of course. Did you look behind the fridge? Yeah, you're right. Rimmer immediately jumps to, wait for it, aliens. Always aliens. Yep. He tries to rationalize the leg breaking as somehow a metaphor for them trying to say hello. Oh, gosh. Lister is like, okay, let's go check the black box. Holly goes to get it and then tells him it's gone. He doesn't remember anything either. So they have to trace it. It basically leads them back to the planetoid they had been on that night when they were partying and they got drunk. They find these giant, like, footprint-like things on the ground that throws them off. But the trail ultimately leads to a gravestone, and the marker reads, "To the memory of Lisa Yates." Rimmer has no idea who this is, but Lister is like, "Oh yeah, that's a girl I dated." And in the grave is the black box. So they retrieve the recordings. It starts with Holly tries to tell them not to play it. So Holly left himself his own warning saying, "Don't do it." They do it anyway. And so it basically takes us back to the night of Rimmer's confession when he's drunk, and Kat and Lister kind of mocking him a bit. They see Lister, it then shows them Lister and the cat going to the hologram simulation suite, a new room for us. They can now see Rimmer's dreams. That basically allows them to see inside of Rimmer. Lister gives him one of his memories of a girl he was with, Lisa Yates. He basically gives Rimmer 8-month relationship. They edit the memories to make them it Rimmer and not Lister. So they change up the voices and, create their own version of a deep fake memory. An inception, if you want to use the parlance. And it's basically, this is their clever deep fake happy birthday present to Rimmer. And so Rimmer, of course, is dreaming of himself dressed as Lister with Lisa, which is truly funny. Rimmer wakes up and he's in a really good mood. Weird how the memories don't quite sync up in the recounting. Like, he's a little thrown off. Like, these memories don't fit. Like, all of a sudden, he's doing this. Like, there's like some radical change in his life where he changed his taste in music, his hygiene, etc. Recounts how he blew the relationship with Lisa. Now, this is the thing Lister didn't anticipate more than anything. And then he starts talking about how he treated her really badly. And Lister's getting mad because he's kind of having this thrown back at him that he blew it with Lisa Yates. And realizing this, lamenting is when Rimmer realizes Rimmer finally clues in that something is off. And then we watch as Rimmer gets super mad before then yelling at Lister as he apologizes. So we flash forward to when Rimmer figures out he and Lister were together with the same woman. So he's not mad about what you think he's mad about. He didn't actually get mad yet that this was Lister's memory. He now thinks that Lister was seeing Lisa Yates at the same time. Only to apparently he found some letters. Finally finds out that it's Lister's memory that he put in Rimmer's brain, and Lister finally fesses up. Like, this is so convoluted. But it's hilarious. It's comedy gold. They go to the observation dome again, and on Red Dwarf, Rimmer there, and Lister goes to find him, decide to erase it all again, make things right, make it like it was never done, which is what I think they do at the end. They then apparently went back to that planet, took the thing, and the reason that the broken legs exist is that they accidentally dropped the tombstone on both their feet at different points while moving it, and that's what created the whole footprints. And it finishes with the Red Dwarf puzzle that had been what Lister was working on. basically they finish, put the final piece, and it cuts to the memory. It's the picture of the ship, and they go off to wipe their memories again. So we ended up back where we started at the end, because obviously this is not a mystery we want to understand or know. So next time, we'll be looking at Stasis Leak as we now go into the back half. Remember, all these series are basically 6 episodes. At least most of them are. So we have Stasis Leak, then Queeg. Oh gosh, I'm looking forward to that one. And Parallel Universe. So fun times to come as we wrap up 1988, I guess, as we go along. So thank you for coming and enjoying this with me. Please like, subscribe, follow along with us. If you're interested in Red Dwarf or just talking about television shows, we're going to move through some new ones. I'm still debating what to do after Red Dwarf, but we're going to go all the way. And they have a series all the way up until 2020, even though that's like series 13, probably. It's a movie, I think, The Promised Land. So we have some time. We will be doing some time jumps along the way, but we're going to have fun as I look off screen here to talk about that. But so join me next time for that. In the meantime, please feel free to like, subscribe, follow us here, but also follow us over on our podcast. We have several of them. We have our main one, Off the Reels, where we talk about movies. We are moving into a chronological Star Wars run. My oldest son is diehard about this stuff, and so I thought, well, let's just do the movies. And if you look at the movies altogether, there's only 11 of them. Just the films, not the TV shows, not the animation. We're just doing the films because that's what we do over there. If you want to talk about Andor or any of those stuff, we've talked about that on this channel. You can go back and watch that. We do have playlists for that. Additionally, we have Wrestling with the Horror of It All, where Casey and Eric talk about horror and wrestling, and they will be doing a special trip to Fright Night down in Orlando this fall, where they will be posting a ton of content. If you want to follow us on any of our social media or write to us, those are down in the description. Please feel free to do so. And of course, we also have our other podcast, Thinking About Thinking, where Dr. Kristen and I, our Not Funny Gal, talk about things that we are thinking about. Sometimes it's academic, sometimes it's fun. We do a lot of different stuff, but it's a little crazy. Those ones typically come out on Thursday. All right, but in the meantime, have a fantastic day. I dropped that one right there. That's on me. And I'll see you next time.